9mm handgun. Over 18 months after my trial ended, I discovered through civil litigation that this was a well-constructed lie too. Prosecutors had withheld a ballistics memorandum that proved unequivocally that Andre was killed by someone with a .380 auto weapon. The state had known that I did not kill Andre almost day one of my illegal trial. We are here today because we have discovered yet more evidence of my illegal, wrongful, and historic conviction. Misconduct by Madison County District Attorney Robert Lee Broussard had once again been uncovered, thanks to my brother, Marvin Ray Jr. We have been told one lie after another by Broussard about what led them to exhume Andre's body from the grave and perform a second autopsy. The state has facilitated from Fred Batts told us to local law enforcement receive the information from the street. When another state witness, Perrion Roberts, appeared in the BET Plus and Vlad TV interviews, we believe that statements were made that brought us closer than ever to the truth about where the information that Andre had been shot came from. We also believe that we have direct proof of who the murder weapon belongs to and where it is being stored. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Savannah Eldridge. I'm the National Outside Support Coordinator for the National Freedom Movement. And I just want to hone in a little bit more on the evidence. So earlier this year, the family was notified that one of the state witnesses, Perrion Roberts, had appeared on the BET Plus show American Gangsters Trap Queens. And in her interview, she relayed some key information that would help in the vindication of Melvin Ray. She also did an interview with DJ Vlad on Vlad TV in which she stated that she had law enforcement on her payroll. Now this information is key because DA Broussard in case court documentations noted that this information about the gun, the ballistics, came from law enforcement who got the information from the street. And during the time that Perrion Roberts was a state witness in this trial, she was and admittedly worked with law enforcement, as evidenced by her interview with BET Plus and her interview on Vlad TV. So we're also calling on Perrion Roberts to do the right thing. She is a humanitarian, she is a community activist, she is a community contributor, and we're asking her as a criminal justice reform advocate to do the right thing, and any information that she has that could help vindicate Melvin and prove his actual innocence, that she comes forward and work with the family and work with law enforcement to see that justice is served.
Good morning. My name is Olivia Sloop. Andre Horton was murdered March 26, 1999. Beginning on January 22, 2001 through January 26, 2001, Melvin Ray was tried and convicted for this crime, even though no physical or DNA evidence has ever connected him to this crime in any way. When Melvin went to trial, no physical evidence of any kind was ever produced. We never seen a single piece of evidence, including evidence that allegedly had Andre's blood on it. Over the course of the past 22 years, we've uncovered proof of tampering and misconduct. We found out that contrary to trial testimony, that Melvin committed this crime by shooting Andre with a 9mm. The state was in possession, but suppressed the ballistic memorandum that shows that Andre's killer murdered him with a .380 automatic. We also discovered that the state's main witness in the case, Fred Batts, lied repeatedly. He denied having a deal with the state in exchange for his testimony, even after both prosecutors stated in open court that Batts did have a deal. Perhaps worst of all is that we've come to the realization that the Madison County District Attorney's Office illegally withheld and suppressed all of the physical and DNA evidence allegedly found at the crime scene. We believe this was done intentionally and that the District Attorney Broussard's actions were done to manufacture a false conviction. We are here today because we have uncovered even more new and appalling evidence. In mid to late February, we were alerted to multiple TV interviews by state witness Perryon Roberts. In interviews, Ms. Roberts disclosed that when she testified at Melvin's trial, she had multiple law enforcement officers on her payroll, and that these officers were providing her with valuable information to avoid criminal prosecution. We have every reason to believe that District Attorney Broussard was aware of this, and this played a significant role in why all of the physical and DNA evidence in the case disappeared before trial. The new revelation from Ms. Roberts bears directly upon an unresolved question about how Andre was killed. There were 2 separate autopsies performed on Andre's body, one in March 1999 and the second one in August 2000. The second autopsy was performed after District Attorney Broussard claimed in a court filing that he had received new information in the case indicating that the first cause of death was wrong. We already have verified proof that District Attorney Broussard lied about where the information initially came from. Now, Broussard claims that the information was delivered to unidentified local law enforcement officers by an unidentified source. We have a strong belief that the officers on Perryon's payroll may be involved in this part of the case, and that District Attorney Broussard has been lying to protect the corrupt officers and to maintain an illegal conviction. Today, we are tired of receiving information in a piecemeal fashion, and we are calling on the Madison County District Attorney's Office to disclose and make available for public inspection all files and evidence in the case. We are specifically demanding to see the following files and evidence: records showing who told police that Andre had been shot, records showing where's the bulletproof vest, where was it during the trial, and the chain of custody files associated with this vest. Records showing the specific details outlining the deal that the prosecutor, Robert Lee Broussard, and Ingrid Lunsford told the jury that the state had entered into with Fred Batts. Records showing where's the bullet that was allegedly found in Andre's neck. Records showing who are the officers that Perryon Roberts had on her payroll and what role they played in the case. Records showing where are the files that account for all the evidence that was allegedly recovered in the investigation of this case. Thank you.
We'll go ahead and take any questions at this time. So an open record request was filed by the legal team. We did get a response that the information was not legally able to be forwarded. However, we are combating that due to the fact that this information could actually free Melvin and prove his innocence.
And have you all looked historically to see how often this is successful with these open records requests with something that's been so far removed from years and years?
No, we haven't. We have not researched that. I mean, traditionally, when you look at actual innocence cases, there are people who have been in prison for decades, and through DNA or evidence discovered later on are freed. So that really was never a thought. My thought, and I think the thoughts of the team, are that once the information is brought forward, that the Madison County District Attorney and the city of Huntsville would do what's right by Melvin. He spent 22 years in prison for something that he didn't do, and that's plenty, that's enough.
And did the attorneys on the case expect this to be the DA's response, that they couldn't release that information?
Absolutely. Considering the links that they've gone to suppress information at this point, we were not expecting for them to be forthcoming with the evidence. So we're just doing our best to get what we can to show, again, that Melvin is innocent.
And he's been pretty active in his prison sentence in openly speaking about the conditions inside Alabama prisons. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. So Melvin is the founder of Free Alabama Movement. It's an inside-led organization, and he has been very successful in highlighting the conditions in Alabama Department of Corrections, and a lot of his work and his footage has been used across the world to change conditions in other prisons and move forward legislation. And again, this is the work that he has done has been to assist other people who are in the same situation, and while still working for his own liberation.
And this is my last question. Sorry, guys, I'm asking a lot. So what was the first piece of evidence that made you guys think that you could, begin to build this open records request? Was it the PET interviews, or was it the arrest, or what really was it something else?
So I think Melvin probably could answer that best, but like for me, I can't imagine someone trying to free themselves right after being wrongfully convicted. So I'm assuming that it started for him as soon as he was incarcerated. I do know that about a year and a half after the trial is when he first started getting, the information regarding the autopsy and things like that. But it was the interview that made him feel like it was an opportune time to bring forward the work that he was already doing over the past 2 decades, really.
Do you think that there are others like Melvin who experienced some kind of over-sentencing or misapplication of evidence or something like that who are still sitting in prison?
Absolutely. I was going to say, is that a trick question? So, yeah, absolutely. Stories of actual innocence. Every year, I think the last time I looked, there were over 5,000 people who were exonerated from actual innocence, and that's not even including over sentencing. So we have these law, habitual offender law, which is the law that Melvin was sentenced under, and racial disparities that contribute to over sentencing of Black and brown people in the court system. And really, until we address those issues, those systemic issues, we're not even going to scratch the surface of, how we're going to be able to help people and how we're going to be able to help our communities. Okay. Anybody else need to say anything?
Or maybe one more question?
Sure.
So Melvin's sentence was from 2 decades ago. So, most of the folks in the district attorney's office now were not necessarily directly involved or closely connected with that.
Right.
What responsibility do you think the Madison County DA's office has to a case that's 20 years old?
Well, the same responsibility they'd have if one that occurred yesterday. It is the justice system. I would expect justice in the courthouse, and when it did not happen, when the evidence come forward that there has been a miscarriage of justice, then they need to do the right thing. Whether they were knowledgeable or not, the evidence is all there. There's nothing that's been spoken about today that's new. All of the evidence that the family has brought forward, these are a part of the court transcripts and the court records. So we're not producing new evidence. If you look, it's there. So it's just a matter of someone, having the wherewithal to look through it and do the right thing by this man.
Hello. I'm Melvin Ray's mom. This is his sister and brother. And we are here to fight for Melvin Ray's innocence. And we would like to invite the Horton family to join us on this so we can get the truth, so the truth will come out. Because Melvin Ray is innocent, and we all know who committed the crime. And we'll be back later to ask Rashad to step down.
Can you state your name and spell it for us, please?
My name is Antonia Brooks, Antonia, Brooks.
How y'all doing? My name is Cox Johnny. I just got through doing 42 plus years in the state penitentiary. I met this brother, and based upon the information that he given me, could be somewhere in what we are here for today. And just saying to you today is we need somebody or someone to look into the situation, because he's not the only one is there like that. There's many more during my 42 plus that I built. And I was guilty and so, you know, but it just, you know, different things. But like I say, we need to look into the situation, and, you know, the law said we are innocent until proven guilty, and things of that nature. And I think it go both ways, you know. Evidence speaks for itself. I mean, you know, we have evidence and facts, and that's what win cases, and that's what lose cases. So I just wanted to say that in the behalf of him. I met him in the system, and I believe that he's telling the truth, and I believe the evidence that he has will show the fact that he is, you know, somewhere guilty or innocent until proven guilty.
That's all we have today. Okay, thank you. My name is I am part of the National Freedom Movement. Right, he's the founder of the National Freedom Movement, so I'm the outside coordinator. And I do help with the legal. Can you spell your name again? I'm sorry. Savannah, S-A-V-A-N-N-A-H.
Sure.
Eldridge, E-L-D-R-I-G-E. R-I-G-E. And you're with the National Freedom Movement.
Last name is A-L.
Are any of the attorneys on here?
K-H-A.
No, Richard Rice was supposed to come, but he wasn't able to make it. He's the one based out of Alabama that's been helping us the most, and he filed the open records request.
And what did you say his name?
Richard Rice.
Very good, very good. Thank you.